This be a good time for an audio check. Video looks good, Scott. Jennifer, you want to check your video? There you go, Dana. Thanks.
Yep.
Audio check, Dan. Check.
Testing.
Sounds good. All right, we're great. Scott, audio check.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds good. All right, everybody's good. Derek, you want to try it out? Steve?
Steve just stepped out for a moment.
All right, sounds good. Looks like about 55.
Just checking my audio.
Check.
Thank you.
Trying to not be a shadow.
parents, community members, we're going to start in about 2 minutes. 2 minutes. One minute warning, parents. 1 minute. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, parents. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you spending your Thursday evening with us. And tonight we want to go over some information with you relative to how we're opening schools this fall. Many of you know who saw my presentation to the school board about a week ago was about the hybrid model, opening up our schools in the hybrid model in September. That plan dramatically changed 24 hours after I gave that presentation. So at that point, we started full steam ahead with our contingency plan that we'd already been working on. And we've finished that up to this point, and we want to share that information with you. Our goal tonight is so that you leave this meeting with as many questions answered as possible. We have 1 hour. We're going to do about a 20-minute presentation for you, which hopefully will answer a lot of your questions. And then we're going to spend the rest of the time with Q&A. Any question that is answered tonight, we will log that question and we will answer it either here in this session, or we will post those questions and their answers very, very soon. We know that we have a quick turnaround time on a couple of the deadlines. And we'll explain to you why that is. But for the purposes of tonight, what we really want to do is tell you a little bit about what the model will look like. All students will start online. We want to tell you about the difference between the experience that you probably had in the spring and how that's going to be different. We also want to talk about the two different online options, Fox Online and Fox Hybrid, and what the main differences are there. We want to talk about our special services, and we want to talk about additional resources that we're going to align, such as nutrition services and some human resources pieces. Before we start, I just want to publicly thank my team and the district office team. They've been working feverishly on this plan around the clock, and they deserve many, many thanks for that. And again, all the teachers and staff members and nurses that have helped us along the way as well. This has been a true team effort. Lastly, I just wanted to say a shout out to our special needs parents, our parents with our kiddos of special needs. Parents, I'm talking to you right now as a father. I'm one of you. I have twin sons that are severely disabled, nonverbal, and I am feeling the same feelings you are about the services for your children. And I just want you to know that I empathize with you. I'm happy to talk to you at any time. And I just wanted to make sure that you heard that from me as a parent of two severely disabled boys. Okay, having said that, we're going to go ahead and move right into the teaching and learning piece, the difference between the fall and the spring. Sorry, the spring and the fall. And Jen, do you want to take that away?
Sure, thanks. Good evening. So the spring of 2020 hit us kind of out of the blue. Perhaps we should have been prepared. We were not. Most of the world was not, unfortunately. So what we experienced in the spring really is what we call crisis schooling. It was not a great situation for any of us. The best situation, of course, is to be able to resume school on campus with all of our kids. We will not get to do that either, but we will have some things that are dramatically improved for our students and families for the fall of 2020 with our Fox Online and our Fox Hybrid. So the spring of 2020, our crisis schooling, that was a no new instruction. That was by state mandate. The fall, Fox Hybrid, Fox Online, this entire school year, that will be targeted instruction, new instruction, grade level instruction. That will be supported in Silver Falls School District by Edgenuity online curriculum. That curriculum is built to be delivered online. So that will be a great starting place for our teachers where they aren't having to create something from scratch when we have not been remote or online teachers previously. In the spring, we had multiple delivery platforms. We heard loud and clear from all 13 of our buildings. Feedback from our parents was that that was really difficult for them to navigate with different teachers, different buildings using different platforms. So Silver Falls has purchased the Canvas platform and everyone will use that in the fall. We will just have the one platform to navigate. So there will be extensive training for our students, our teachers, and our parents on how to use that. And I think you'll be pleased with what you see there. In the spring, we had kids in a traditional schedule, and all we could do with that is try and continue that schedule as they moved off site. Now, for this year, we have schedules that are designed for remote learning success. And that looks a little bit different in terms of the number of things that we're asking kids and families to manage at one time. So kids would have in the spring 5, 6, 7 classes they were trying to navigate. The most that any child will have in this school year will be 4. And some kids, if they cannot navigate 4, there will be fewer than that. So we'll move more hours in one course and then move on to the next course as opposed to doing little bits in lots of courses at one time. That's just not a successful model for online or remote management. We had varied virtual engagement for kids week to week, day to day, which we also heard loud and clear from our families was very difficult for parents to navigate as they were trying to work from home, shuffle between resources, daycares, and that kind of thing. Each child moving forward will have a weekly learning plan that families can plan around. We also had many live engagements connections to navigate in the spring. There will be daily live connections because some of our kids need that live connection. We will continue that. But there is in the fall guidance, reopening guidance, there is a clause, it's called Safeguarding Student Opportunity Clause. And that speaks to our responsibility to protect any students from any negative implications of them not being able to manage the way that school has changed. So while there will be a live engagement opportunity for each kid every day, students will not be penalized if that does not work for their family structure, for their internet access, for their work schedule, for their supervision of younger children's schedule, any of those things. So the opportunity will be there, the requirement will not. In the spring, engagement was monitored and reported. The connection and care was the focus there. Connection and care is still the focus here, but progress towards standards is what we will measure and report on with that Safeguarding Student Opportunity Clause, where students are not going to be penalized because they're in a situation that's beyond their control. So there will be safeguards in place for kids in that way. So the Fox Hybrid and Fox Online. Fox Hybrid, we will begin their hybrid course schedule online because we have to, and hopefully we can get them back in as soon as possible. Our Fox Online students that have chosen that path, they will remain online all year. The Fox Hybrid kids will have Edgenuity curriculum that teachers will be able to enhance and supplement and kind of make them our own as we go. We will also have access for the hybrid kids, all of the courses that we always offer in Silver Falls School District, we will continue to, whether it's built into Edgenuity or not, we will still build those into Canvas. The Fox Online kids will be limited to the Edgenuity curriculum availability. If the course is not built there in Edgenuity, we won't be able to offer it on Fox Online. So a little bit of a limited, but if you've had a chance to look at the course catalog for Edgenuity, which you can look at online, there's quite a wide variety of courses. I think you'll be pleased with those selections as well. So the Fox Hybrid kids, again, will have full access to everything that we offer. The Fox Online kids will be a little bit limited in just those courses that we can offer entirely through Edgenuity. Both models will have full access to any extracurricular activities we're able to offer, all of our support services, food service, counseling, career services, any of those, 504s, IEPs, tags, that will all be both models. So when it is safe to return on site, our hybrid kiddos will come back to us at least 2 days live, perhaps more days if students need more days. They will continue to work in their Edgenuity classes that are going to be enhanced and supplemented by our teachers, or the Silver Falls classes that are built into Canvas. Those will continue. That is just in case when we return, if we have another unexpected closure, we're gonna make sure that we have fluid movement in and out for those kiddos. We're not gonna try to minimize disruption for them. While they're on site, they will get live instruction, live collaboration, live feedback. So good stuff there. And they obviously will have some additional opportunities around the social emotional. For our kiddos that are continuing online, they will have a Silver Falls School District teacher as well. They will be supporting multiple students around the district in multiple different Edgenuity courses. They will work primarily in the day-to-day with their home learning coach, and those students will have maximum flexibility in how they schedule themselves and how they pace themselves in their courses. For our high school kiddos, so a typical school year, we've got 7 classes plus AG per semester, all scheduled on campus. For this school year, we're going to go with 4 courses, including AG, per semester. That's so those kids have fewer things to navigate at one time. There will be 3 of those classes live on campus for our hybrid kiddos, and 1 of them will continue to be online through the year. There are in a typical year 7.5 credits offered. That is still the case this year because that AG class is a quarter credit. Typical year, you've got letter grades. That will be true this year as well. We will have letter grades, but we will be mindful of that safeguarding student opportunity clause. So we will make sure that we're giving multiple opportunities where necessary and making sure that every student has access to the instruction they need when we're issuing their grades. In a typical year, we issue credits at semester, and this year we will be issuing those credits at the quarter. Fewer classes, quicker earning of credit, okay? 25.5 credits for graduation, that's gonna stay the same. Extracurricular and support services available to every kid, same this year as well. Full access in a typical year to CTE program areas, program area honors, honors diplomas, those things. That is true as well here. It looks a little bit different in Fox Hybrid and Fox Online. The only difference here is that Fox Hybrid will have full access to what those kids started their contract for those program areas, program area honors and honors diplomas. They'll have full access to all those courses. None of that will change. It will just be different that they won't take it for a year. They'll take it for 1 semester, but they'll get that whole credit in the 1 semester. Fox Online will have limited access to those Edgenuity courses, but there are plenty of courses in there to meet those honors diploma requirements. We also are going to be mindful of that safeguarding student opportunity clause there. So if we have a kiddo that needs to be online for the year and we, for whatever reason, cannot offer a course that they need to finish that honors diploma or program area honors, we're going to honor that for them. Okay. Dana Peterson, Special Education.
Good evening, everybody. I want to talk a little bit about Special Services Department. That is covering students that are eligible for special education, their individual education plan, and 504 plans. It's hard to kind of give you guys, I know most parents with special needs kids, myself included, we kind of want the nitty gritty, how is this going to work for my kiddo? What I can tell you right now is I only have what the federal and state government and local Oregon Department of Education has given us and the guidelines we have to follow. So we'll start there. And of course, I hope everybody knows that every student has their own IEP team that makes decisions for them, or 504 team. And so we certainly will get down to that when school starts and get a little more specific. So in general, these are some of the top points that I want to share with you tonight. There's obviously, we will continue to support your student who is currently or in process of having an IEP or a 504 plan. If you left in the spring and you had your child getting ready for an evaluation, we are looking at ways to complete those as soon as we get back to school. And so we hope to minimize any weight on that, and we can certainly look at each individual student and how we can support them during that wait. We're still very committed to providing students in both categories, a special education and 504, to meet their individual needs and their strengths. We are completely resolute in continuing our culture of transparent collaboration. And that's something I'm really proud of in this district and in this community, that I hope that you feel as a parent or a student or part of an IEP or 504 team that you can contact us anytime with your questions and concerns, and we will work on it. We will collaborate and figure out how best we can serve your student. And we're going to consistently communicate. We always have our annual meetings once a year. Every team can do that, but you can certainly ask for more meetings, and I'm assuming we will be reviewing and looking at almost every IEP and 504 as soon as the school year starts to see how we can make this work in a hybrid, or when we're starting in an online environment that a lot of our students with disabilities are not used to. So we're going to really work and try and think outside the box on how we're going to make kids successful. What's happening now at the district office and kind of in the region is that we are at the district. I'm excited to say we've purchased a couple of new specific special education curriculums, especially for our students who are more impacted regarding academics, functional, and life skills. So we're going to have a wider range of curriculums to offer students, even if we can't see them in person. We're also upgrading some of our reading interventions. So those can be fully online, and students that had previously used those in the classroom and our LRCs in the district can continue to do that at home with support from parent or teacher online. I've been working with district-wide and all 13 buildings regarding reopening blueprints, working on staffing to make sure that we have enough support folks for our students, technology, and of course the curriculums. We definitely want to make sure that parents, if you're going to be our partners in this for these first few weeks at least, and we want to make sure that you feel comfortable with curriculums we're going to ask your student to use. So you're going to be getting your homework as well, and we're going to be here to help you do that. Definitely been working with the nursing staff, which we have amazing nurses in this district, regarding any student that has a health or medical protocol. Hopefully when we get back to a hybrid and kids start coming in, we want to make sure everybody's safe and we are able to support your student when they come back into the building and in the district. I just got off the phone 2 days ago with Willamette ESD. They are service provider for regional services like physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, deaf, hard of hearing services. And they are also on board. We are working with them really hard to figure out how do we get those types of services to your child when we're in an online environment. That can be really difficult for our kids. So working with them and local districts to try and get some outside of the box thinking and creative ways to do that. And then we've been researching online curriculums and programs to also support our students that struggle with mental health and social emotional needs, working with our staff and our district specialists to see if there are things out there that would really support our students and in this community. And then what's coming up? So we are all anxiously awaiting new guidance and information from Oregon Department of Education. They were going to be releasing this new information next week, August 11th. We've been told there will be information specifically regarding special education and 504 plans and how districts can support students in an online environment. So I'm anxious to get that. I know other local districts in Marion Polk counties, we get together often. The directors will be disseminating that information. We'll also have the help of probably our attorneys to look at those things and come up with a plan to share that information with parents. Special education teachers, of course, with new curriculums and with Edgenuity that all students will have access to either in our hybrid or online program. We will give them professional development and trainings on how to use those, how to make sure that they have accessibility for students who experience disabilities, and how we can make that a little more seamless for our students. And then the last one there is just coordinating with our own amazing staff. We have awesome specialists that serve our kids in a lot of areas. And I know they are anxious and missing the kids, and we really want to know how we can best serve them regarding any kind of curriculums and assessments and evaluations, especially when we start in an online environment, how best to support them and also to support families and making that partnership work.
All right, well, my name's Dan Bush. I'm the Assistant Superintendent in charge of Human Resources. And so just want to thank all the parents for coming out tonight. I'm looking at the participation list and it's around 380, which is, it was amazing. So thank you for taking time out tonight to hear what we've been up to and how we're going to prepare for this online learning and eventually the hybrid learning. And so a lot of what you heard from Jen and Dana, then it's the job of our staff to carry that out. And so as the person in charge of human resources for the district, I look at the role that I have as trying to set up everyone for success. And so some of this is going to seem a little technical at first, but really trying to align, I'm going to get down to where we talk about aligning resources to meet everyone's needs. I just want to call out one thing when it says staffing for comprehensive distance learning and hybrid. I'm going to be using the term staffing because it's a little more inclusive term. We have a lot of adults that work in our school district that they're not all teachers. And so, really want to make sure that we're talking about everybody who works with kids. And so I oftentimes refer to staff, and that is both our teachers and our educational assistants, our special needs assistants, a lot of different people that work with our kids during the day. And so as we go to carry this out, this task of converting, people that are normally used to working in schools into this online or hybrid format, we start by looking at our contracts that we have with our classified employees and with our licensed teachers. Those guide how we set people up for success. And so we look at our collective bargaining agreements and we figure out, so what works in online and then what doesn't. And then we develop what are called memorandums of understanding. So those are extensions of our contracts to say, okay, so, and we did this with both groups in the spring to say, okay, so we're working from home. So how does this work to make all of our staff members contribute and be successful in something they've never done before? And fortunately, we've had really good relationships with both of our associations. And so we've been meeting with them with our licensed association leaders throughout the summer in preparations for developing a memorandum of understanding to extend within the contract so that teachers feel supported and ready to take on this task. One thing that, regardless of whether you're a kid or adult, everybody loves predictability. And so how do you provide that for staff in an unpredictable environment? And so we try to, replicate as best we can, operations as consistent as possible. So how do we take this, move from people that are accustomed to teaching kids face-to-face and make it as predictable as possible? And that's why you heard what Jen talked about earlier, equipping our teachers with things like Canvas and Edgenuity so that they are able to do what they do really well with kids with tools that'll help them be successful. So that was a monumental effort over the course of the summer to get these, to take your feedback and move towards these consistent sources like Canvas and Edgenuity so that our teachers, who are awesome, can have a product or have a curriculum that they know will better suit our kids' needs and equip them to be successful. And then the final step is aligning the resources to meet everyone's needs. And what I mean by that is earlier, as Jen was describing the online and the hybrid model, is that we need to make sure that if students are electing to go online all year, then we need to assign and align teachers to teach online all year. And so because it's important for those kids that are going to, that may be online all year, to have the same teacher online all year. And so, so this would be a nice shout out or a reminder to parents that as you take in this information and and making some choices for your kids. If you're electing to do that online option, there is an application out there for that. And we're basing some major decisions on that information. And so if you determine that to be the best for your student to be online all year, that's critical information for us to align our resources for that. And so, because this is all about setting everybody up for success for our kids first and foremost, but then as our staff, as we're getting ready, September's around the corner, to be able to let them know if there's any assignment changes to support those that are online. We need to know that information now. Another aspect of what I do within the school district is coordinating with transportation, which is Durham School Services and our food services, who provide nutrition for our kids during the school day. And so Durham Transportation Services, we were working throughout from the time school got out in June through July, preparing for this hybrid model. And what did that look like for taking groups of kids that were going to be on a Tuesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Friday format. And we were already routing kids based on, some projected routes that we might have had. And so, we've hit the pause button on that, since the hybrid model will not be starting until November. But just want to point out there that the folks at Durham are ready to support our kids and families. In the spring, you might recall that we were doing meal delivery to homes. I want to point out, if we do that again, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when I get to food services next up, but the folks at Durham are ready to roll that out if we do that again, to have meal deliveries to homes. And so moving on to food services is currently we're running food services through the summer meal program with different pickup sites. And that will continue to operate through August 28th. And so and then we will transition with food service to what it will be in September. And we don't know quite what that will look like as the summer meal program ends on August 28th. We will determine some way to have some gaps closed there between that and then when school opens up in the middle of September. But I want to point out that, our focus will be, just like it was in the spring, to maximize nutrition services within state and federal guidelines. And what I mean by that is the state and federal guidelines, there are a lot of state and federal guidelines for food services. You would be surprised at how many there are. And so in the spring, we set up food pickup sites until we were able to meet the federal and state guidelines that then allowed us to deliver those meals home to homes. And so we may find ourselves in that situation again, where depending on the state and federal guidelines, whether we're going to be able to do pickup sites or home delivery. Just know that our commitment within the Silver Falls School District is to maximize those services for kids and families while operating within the state and federal guidelines. So we don't know what those are quite yet, but as soon as we do, we will start ramping up the plans to provide our services throughout the district within those guidelines. I think that turns back to Scott.
Scott, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Thank you, team. Appreciate that. And we're going to go ahead and move over to the question answer piece. And Steve Nielsen, our business manager, is going to help us out with that.
Yes, thank you. We've received a lot of great questions already, and I'm trying to get them organized here. So I'll go ahead and throw the first one out. If we choose the online path, will our kids have the same teacher and coach the entire year, or will it switch over in November? I assume that means if when they come back hybrid, will that look different? And I guess maybe we should address, I think somebody already spoke to the, if they're on online all year, it would remain the same with the same teacher, but they come hybrid, what would that look like?
I think I'll take a run at answering that question. So if someone is our intent, if someone's on the Fox Online, they will stay with that teacher. So we want to line teachers up so that if a student is on an online all year, they'll have the same teacher or teachers for that. And I have not worked as tightly on the hybrid side of things, and maybe Jen can confirm that. But our intent would be those would be seamless, same kids, same, so that they can move in and out from an online to hybrid and potentially back online should we face another closure. So, but maybe Jen can confirm that answer.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We want to start kids. I mean, we understand that things will change for families potentially, and we may have to make adjustments as the year goes. But our intention is that each kid will start and be consistent in the same program throughout the year, whether they're hybrid or online, whether we get to come back and have subsequent closures. We want that to be as consistent as possible and minimize those disruptions for students, families, and our staff.
Next question, will curriculum for hybrid or fully online be similar? For example, will fully online kids still be at a similar academic level? Or when all kids return, will one group be behind?
You want me to take that one?
Go ahead, Jen.
Okay. Yes, it will be similar. And that's one of the reasons that we're going to use the Edgenuity curriculum as the base for both programs. So we're going to keep our kids in sync the best we can. Those programs are built to grade level standards on Common Core, and they are designed to be delivered both the instruction and the learning activities remotely. So even though kids will come back on hybrid and they will get some live instruction, live collaboration, live feedback, it will be based on the work that they're doing in those programs that our teachers are monitoring.
The other thing that we purchase with the Edgenuity program are the intervention components also. So if kids do come to us below grade level, that we will assess them, and we have instructional materials to assist teachers to catch your kids up.
Will the district be handing out devices to students?
Yes. 1-to-1.
Will Seesaw be used through Canvas?
Canvas is going to be our only learning management system that we will support from IT. Canvas is used K-12, will be used K-12 in our district. It's also used by every college and university in the country. And so we feel that one of the things that we heard from our community is that it's very confusing for parents to have to negotiate more than one platform.
For the hybrid plan, do you know how much instruction time will be provided on days each group meets? For example, 2 hours or 5 hours, etc. of online for group B on Wednesdays and 5 hours again on Fridays. The additional homework teachers assign on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday.
It'll be a normal school day when they're at school with the teacher.
Okay. Next, are there unique teaching and instructional plans or approaches planned for the K-3 grade population that differ from the overall district plans for the Fox hybrid plan?
Jen, you want to take that one?
Sure. So yeah, the K-3 is certainly a concern statewide, and you may have seen some of the guidance is that the priority is to get those K-3s back in the building as soon as we can. We know that that's the best for them. The Edgenuity curriculum is designed even for kindergartners to be delivered remotely, and they have been successful at that for many years. So I'm sure that our kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade teachers are going to take a look at that, supplement and enhance it, and make it a great experience for our kids.
For those students that select fully online, there was a reference to needing to make a commitment to this option. What does that commitment entail?
So we just want a commitment to be able to plan. So we would never want a parent who chose the online program who found it wasn't working for their child to feel that they were stuck on that path. But we do ask for a commitment because we need to allocate our staff to teach fully online, and we can't do that if we don't have accurate data. So in the application, there's a link that talks about the check-in points or checkpoints when parents can switch out of the fully online path back into the hybrid path. But what we really want is we want to work with our parents. And we want our parents to be satisfied. We just ask that you help us out by giving us your commitment, or if it's not working out for your child, to try to help us out by looking at one of the dates that are indicated for a check-in with us.
When is the first day of school?
The first day of school will be 1 week later. That's pending our school board approval on Monday. And the reason for that is we want to get a 2-week training pre-service for our teachers. We have to be able to support our teachers and set them up for success. Teachers are our most important piece to this whole crisis that we're in. And when I say teachers, I mean all staff. So the training that our teachers, our certified teachers, will be exposed to is the same training that our instructional assistants, educational assistants will be exposed to as well. So we want to be able to have enough time to train our staff in Edgenuity and Canvas, as well as a few other areas.
What do you see kindergarten looking like? Well,
They're 5. And so our kindergarten teachers will be trained in the Edgenuity and kindergarten curriculum. We bought the comprehensive modules for Edgenuity, and teachers will start reaching out to families as soon as they can start doing so. Jen, did you want to add to that at all?
No, I think, it's hard to imagine and conceptualize how we're going to do this with small children online, especially those who've never been in school before. And it's not going to be comparable to us having them in front of us in the classroom. We're going to get them back in front of us as soon as we are allowed to do so. But to put your mind at ease a little bit, kindergartners have been doing online education successfully for many, many years. It can be done. It just looks very different. It's not maybe what we would choose, but again, we're going to make the best of the situation we have in front of us and provide the very best opportunities we can for those little ones. And I have no doubt, I've worked closely with our kindergarten team, and I have no doubt that they will make it an exceptional experience for your kids.
The first day of school, we're planning on to be Monday, September 14th.
I'm going to switch over to some high school related questions now. How will only having 4 classes allow high school students to still get the correct credits in order to graduate?
So remember that in a normal year, we have 7, but at semester, we issue a half credit. So now we're going to issue credit at quarter. So you'll have 4 classes in that first quarter, and you'll get quarter credits. So really, we have the potential to earn in a year 8 credits, whereas in a typical year, you would get 7 plus AG. That will be still 7.5, because one of those online 4th classes that the high schoolers will take will be that AG support class, which will still be the quarter credit.
Will there be electives, and how will the electives work between online and hybrid options?
Go ahead, Jen. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, there will still be electives. Every course that we currently offer, we plan to offer. Most of those courses are going to have an Edgenuity base to them. Edgenuity has an extensive variety of elective opportunities, but for those that we know are important in our school culture and that our kids have built towards for many years that are not Edgenuity courses, we're still going to build those for kids in Canvas. At this point, there's not a discussion of not being able to offer any of them. Master schedules are not completely finished yet. We're going to do the best we can, but our intention is to offer everything.
Will high school tag students still be allowed to take online college courses?
Yes.
What will choir look like at the high school?
Well, we've talked about that, and we'll continue talking about choir, but there are some serious concerns about that, and we don't have a definitive answer right now, unless one of our high school administrators wants to chime in on that. But as soon as we do, we will get that out to the community.
What will a typical day look like for a middle school and high school student?
We have a high school administrator in the audience. Johnny, do you want to answer that?
Good evening. My name is Johnny Farrow. I'm the assistant principal at the high school. I can speak a little bit to what our day is going to look like, obviously pending discussions with both of our associations and with transportation. But what we are envisioning is that on those hybrid days, they'll be there for 3 85-minute sessions with transition time in between those. And then we'll either release them early around 1, or else if transportation can't accommodate that, we would flip-flop the schedule and have them come later. And we would send them with their lunch in hand. And the reason for that is that in order to meet the standards that the state has put out, we would need 4 lunch times, 4 lunch rotations in 22 different locations, each one of those. So there would be cleaning requirements in between all of those, and it just doesn't seem feasible, and that we can maximize our time in those 85-minute class periods. And then their 4th period class would be their online course. And what we are planning for the first 18 weeks is that online class is their advisory group time, where they get college and career information as well as social emotional learning. To speak to choir, while we don't know all the specifics of it, I had the opportunity to listen to Mr. H today, and he feels confident that they're going to be able to do amazing work together. And just know that we're fully committed to keeping educational plan profiles open and available so students can reach those goals.
If I could add something that Johnny mentioned there, I think this goes to some of the complexity around, the scheduling with trying to get every student lunch and configure transportation into that, because most of what she was talking about there was built around that hybrid schedule, and is, I think, our focus, rightfully so, has been because we will be online and to start the school year, we've focused on that, but there's still a great deal of complexity, especially at our high school of 1,300 kids. We will still be limited when we resume hybrid in November, that cohorts of no more than 100. So that means students cannot be in contact with more than 100 students during their day. So how we manage that in a 2-day-a-week program, also feeding every student every single day, and then getting them to and from school is a huge challenge. And so that's why that schedule has been adopted, to try to get them the credits, get them everything that they need, and get them to and from school and fed as well. So just kind of want to show the complexity of what they're trying to pull off there at Silverton High School.
Next question. I want my kids in Fox Online until there is a vaccine. Is there a way to switch back from online to in-class mid-year?
Yes, there is. Absolutely. Our goal is to work with our families.
Can we start with hybrid and switch to online if we're not comfortable sending them to school?
Again, we would take each case in context, and the answer remains the same. Our goal is to work with our families.
Okay. When will our kids know who our hybrid teacher is?
Well, there are a lot of moving parts that we got to put into place, and I suspect it's going to be pretty close to the start of the school year. And so stay tuned for that.
When school resumes, can you guarantee that our children will not be tested for COVID-19 without parent consent?
Of course.
Will high school students have multiple teachers in Fox Online?
That will depend on how many total high school students we have in Fox Online and how many teachers are assigned to the Fox Online program.
How do we provide online supports and instruction for students that have not had internet access, as that was problematic last spring?
So we are reaching out to each individual family where that is the case. And we have a plan that we're working on right now. So one of the options is to try to set up remote areas that do have internet access. We're working on that. It's a terribly difficult situation to be in, and we're trying to do everything we can to come up with a plan that solves that.
What is a coach versus a teacher? Are coaches provided?
Jen, you want to take that?
Sure. So we know for successful online learning, long-term, students need a home learning coach. They will have an online teacher. The teachers will be responsible for pushing out instruction and learning assignments and monitoring students' progress, assessments, grading, all of that teachers will do. But in terms of the day-to-day, providing a learning space, helping a student schedule out their week and their day, monitoring their understanding, that will be a home learning coach. It does not have to be a parent. It just has to be somebody who's appointed by the family that's going to be the partner with that child in their education process. I believe on our site, we do have just a one-pager on what the job of a home learning coach is. And I would say, you know, we ask for that information in the online application because really for long-term success, in our online program, a student will need that home learning coach, more or less home learning coaching, depending on their age. And there's some time recommendations in that document as well. While we're all forced into an online situation, we will work with families who cannot have a home learning coach available, and some of our support staff will be stepping in to try and fill those roles while we are offsite.
Is there anything set up for students to interact with each other in person? The isolation is difficult for our students.
Jen, you want to take that one also?
Yeah, in person right now, no. I mean, our strict orders are we are shut until our metrics say we can open. So all of the opportunities that we will be able to offer in person, as far as we know right now, will be virtual. We will have to watch our metrics for our county, our two counties, Clackamas and Marion, to see when the first date will be that we could offer anything on site. And then, as Dan mentioned, when we are able to offer that in-person on-site stuff for kiddos, they will be limited to 100 people at a time.
How many hours will online classes take per day?
It's going to be roughly the same as your school day. I mean, we're working through the same credits. We're doing grade level new instruction. So it's going to be roughly the same. That does not mean that your student is going to be sitting in front of a computer for all of those hours, because there will be instruction that's pushed out, but also learning and practice activities for them to do, just as they would be doing in a classroom or at home for homework. So all of that wrapped together will be approximately the same as a school day, but remember, no breaks, no transitions, no, I mean, you guys at home get to schedule that as you want to. So it could be a much shorter school day, or you could spread it out with more breaks and more time allotments for physical activity and nutrition breaks and that kind of thing. Each family will get to make and work with their teacher on a weekly home learning plan and get to schedule what's realistic for their student.
Will a new family to the district who has not been able to register yet be able to sign up for Fox Online after August 10th?
Yes. And again, our goal is to work with our families. Also, Steve, I just want to add in also, I'm seeing a lot of questions come in for, can we switch from Fox hybrid to the full online option? And the answer is yes. Again, we don't want families to feel that they're trapped in one path, but we do ask for a commitment, because you can imagine that the terribly difficult logistics that go into staffing these classes and having a good idea of what resources we need. So the answer to whether or not you can switch over to the other path, the answer ultimately is yes. But we just ask that you abide by the check-in points so we can do that in a systematic fashion.
Will hybrid be taught by the kids' resident school teachers?
Yes, yes, they will.
If my child is scheduled for the hybrid on Wednesday and Friday, could we switch them to Tuesday, Wednesday, or vice versa?
Yes, and you would just work with your school on that, and they would help take care of you. We do have a process for that, and your school can help you with that.
For elementary school kids completely online, do we know how much time per day will be required to help them succeed?
Jen, I believe you answered that. No?
Yeah, and I should have had those numbers in front of me for this meeting, but we can get those right up right after this meeting. There are ODE recommended numbers, and we're going to be very close to that. And it's you can do them as a minimum number of minutes per day or per week, whichever works for your family.
I believe we talked about K-3 strategies, but the specific question is, does our school district plan to have K-3 go back to school before other students, or will everyone go back at the same time?
Yeah, so the guidance does give an exception for K-3 children to come back early, but we have to meet the metrics first. And we will put those metrics out. I want to make sure that they're totally accurate. But at this point, we do not meet the metrics to have K-3 kids back at this time. When the data does show that we meet the metrics to have our K-3 kids come back, we will give our families plenty of time to plan. And on top of that, just so you know, parents, right now we're planning to go the soonest possible time we can have your children back in our brick and mortar buildings is November 16th. The end of the quarter would be November 13th. The soonest we can have kids back is the 16th. By October 5th, we will communicate out to our community whether or not it's looking good that kids are going to be able to come back on the 16th, or if we have to extend the closure to the semester. And hopefully we don't, but we'll have to take the data that our medical experts are giving to us.
Will physical education be part of the curriculum? If so, how will it be addressed?
You want to take that, Jen? That one?
Yeah, it definitely will. Our PE teachers will run the Edgenuity online PE and be able to supplement and enhance that. And it has some of the philosophy behind PE and the wellness curriculum is built into those PE classes as well, but also it's some logging of physical activity that parents will sign off on and monitor.
Jen, could you explain a little bit more about the learning coach role?
Yeah, I wonder do we have that up on our website? The learning coach is responsible for monitoring students' understanding. I feel like that's the one that is going to give people pause, right? It is not the responsibility of the learning coach to correct the student's understanding, just to monitor that they're understanding. If they feel like they're not understanding or you're stuck here, have you sent your teacher a question? Then it would be the responsibility of the learning coach to communicate with the teacher and say, we're stuck here, we need some help. So a student on their own could get pretty off course before a teacher might catch that. So the home learning coach is the one that's monitoring that kind of daily as we go. What's your plan for the day? Let's remove your distractions from the area that you're going to be working. Let's make sure that your internet access and you have all of the supplies that you need. Let's make sure that you've communicated and checked in with your instructor. But I do think that we have or we could have by tonight posted just a one-page, this is the specific responsibility of the learning coach. And again, can be a parent, can be a neighbor, can be an older sibling, can be grandparent, aunt, uncle, just somebody who's going to take on that responsibility to be the partner with that child and the teacher.
I can just jump in real quick, Jen, to confirm that that document is available online on the FAQ page of our COVID reopening on silverfallschools.org. If you don't see that when you go to the FAQ page, please just refresh your browser and that should be available.
And I believe there's time suggestions on that page as well, Derek, is that right?
I don't know that it's on that page, but it will definitely, I know what document you're talking about, and that is planned to go out district-wide tomorrow as well, if not, so.
Perfect, thank you. And again, those recommended times, families can structure those by day or by week, whatever fits your family schedule best. Weekly learning plan that's built together with the home learning coach, the teacher, and the student.
Can parents have the option to lock the devices this year?
Does anybody have an answer from an IT standpoint? I'm not sure.
I can address it if you want me to, Scott.
Sure, go right ahead.
So there's a mobile device management system provides for apps and also allows for the distribution of single sign-on so that students can log on and log off. Teachers will have much more control with Canvas and Ingenuity to deliver curriculum. Locking a device would be specific to the either iPad or Chromebook device. And we used a third-party offsite filter this last year securely that has some functions that we'll be looking at for this coming year. So it's not a definitive yes, but we're working on it.
Drew, do you want to say anything about distribution so parents can start to prepare for what that might look like?
Sure. Last year we day and a check-in day, and I think that worked great. It also provided for some face-to-face time for kids to be able to see their teacher and the classified staff and come by, and the library media staff did an excellent job of distributing and checking those out as well as checking them in. The plan is to repeat that this year.
Great. Thank you, Drew.
If we elect for the online program, will our kids have licensed teachers overseeing their class, or will it be an ed assistant? If it is a teacher, will there be access to the teacher or an EA for extra help as needed?
I think I'll take this one. So the answer is a licensed teacher, yes. And that I don't know to the degree additional assistance, but I think our commitment is to make sure that if it's not working for students that, we are reaching out. I think that's where the coach plays a role in that in online learning. I'd like to elaborate a little bit. I've seen the question come up. It was touched on earlier related to resident teachers or some of the smaller schools having one of their teachers be the online teacher. Again, that's where needing those numbers become really important because we need to know how many staff members to allocate to the online program, and we also have staff members who may, because of their own needs, need to be the teacher. They need to be a teacher online only because of maybe their own health concerns, things of that nature. So we have a little bit of a puzzle piece to put together to make sure that the teachers that are going to be doing online all year are the best teachers for that role, supporting their own personal needs that they may have. So a lot to work out over the next month or so.
Okay, one or two more, Scott?
Sure.
When will kids on IEPs and changing schools have contact with their new IEP team? Normally there's a transition visit to the middle school prior to the new change. Or how could we get in contact with someone?
Yeah, the pandemic really threw us off this spring, and I know our high school team and our 8th grade special ed teachers out in all the buildings were really kind of bummed we didn't get to do our regular go to visit, have lunch, and enjoy the day at the high school. For all kids that are transitioning either to different programs or to different buildings, we will have time to have those transition meetings. And so by pushing our school year back a week, although teachers will be doing a lot of PD that week and learning new things, we will also have time to have those IEP and 5014 meetings so you and your student can get to know their new team and make sure that you guys feel comfortable with who to call and who the new case manager is. If you have any questions before school starts, you can certainly get a hold of me through email or phone call to the district office. Know that teachers, all teachers aren't back to work for a few more weeks. Once they are back on their contracts, you can definitely, if you know who your student's special ed teacher, or even if you're wondering about a 504, who the counselor is at their building, you can certainly send them an email or give them a call.
Great. Well, parents, that ends our time together tonight, but we will be taking all of the questions that were asked, and the ones that were not answered tonight, we will answer those to the best of our ability and make sure they're posted. We'll also be posting the video of this meeting as well. I just wanted to say to all of you tonight how much we appreciate your support, your kind words. The questions that we have were very, very appropriate, you know, throughout the summer. And we're trying to get back to you just as soon as we can. But I want to be the first to say thank you for your grace and patience as we work through this unprecedented time. And every district in the country is in the same boat. So we hope that we've answered your questions. We hope you feel supported. And we will see you next time. Your home schools will be holding town hall meetings beginning next week. And those town hall meetings will happen every consecutive week after that until school starts. So you don't have to attend every single one. It's a time for you to get more specific answers to your questions from your school principal and staff. And if you have more questions about that, the schools will be sending out information to you very shortly. So thank you for coming. It's a pleasure serving you.